comment to see if this is gonna work. Let's hope that it does. So bear with me, guys. I am trying to do this all by myself and learn at the same time. So comment. Let's see, we've got some comments happening on Facebook. Hey Donna, thanks for popping on. You see and hear me good. All right, yay. Oh my gosh, Anne is out there. All right, so somebody jump over to YouTube. Hey Renee, jump over to YouTube and tell me if you can see me live on my YouTube channel. Somebody do that for me while I'm sitting here waiting. Oh, Karen Ashford, awesome. I see you. All right, welcome from New Zealand. Awesome. Okay. Hey Nancy. Oh my gosh, you're on vacation in Florida. Awesome. This is just a test, but it's working. So what I'm going to do is just change my camera and make sure everything is going to work. I'm going to go to my overhead. So you should be able to see that. It takes about 8 seconds. Okay, Anne, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you can see me. Hey, TJ. Welcome back again. I told you I'd be back on. I couldn't get it to work in the other program, so I'm using a different one. This is what I started with years ago, and I'm hoping this will work. Okay, so I'm going to switch to another camera view that would show the side camera at the same time. See that there? You can see the side, and I can zoom it down. Okay, so that's kind of cool, right? Hey Isabel, how are you? Perfect. Okay, awesome guys. Now, the problem is I can't read all the comments from 2 different platforms. You see the flowers. Okay, awesome. This is working. Yay! I am so stressed over this whole thing, you guys. All right, so this is the one I started Tuesday night. I'm going to go back to just the overhead. And I'll do a pedal since I'm on here. I started this earlier and it only went to YouTube. So, hey Blake, how are you? It's crazy. Technology, we can't live with it, we can't live without it, but maybe this is going to work. So I'm just going to open my colors back up. I closed everything up. So what I've got in front of me is, once again, the enamel piece. This, I'm going to scooch in just a little bit closer on this and move this over. Okay, so I'm going to just do another petal here just because I can, okay? All right, so I'm going to, when you've got your enamel, see now this has been sitting here like an hour and you see how thick that is. So I am going to add just a couple of drops of the glass medium, the GM 300 glass medium. And I'm just going to stir with my brush, okay? Now, technically you shouldn't do that. So let me get my tool and let me check this one. That one's pretty good. All right, so how are you guys this evening? You see and hear me on YouTube. Okay, hey Eddie. Yay, we're on both platforms. Can you believe it? What a pain. What a pain. Hey, Miss Lucy, how are you? Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna do a little demo here real quick and then I'll get off, and I haven't even eaten my dinner tonight, so I just wanted to get this done. You know how you get something in your head and you just want to get it done and make sure it works? So I was determined, for sure. Determined. All right, let me look at a bit dark, Daphne says. Okay. I can turn the light, but when I'm doing glass, the lights reflect on the, come back on the glass. It's not as easy as it is on ceramic, so it looks pretty good on YouTube. If it looks dark on Facebook, then you might jump over to YouTube, just in case, okay? All right, so let's do one of these real quick. I'm gonna grab my 34 T-Rose, and I'm just gonna flood it in, pull and pedal. You'll hear me say this over and over again. I'm gonna add a little bit in a couple of different areas. Now I'm going to wipe off the excess, and then I'm going to grab my orchid bloom and I'm going to put it here. So when you're starting, you need to do like every other petal so that they can dry, and then you can come in between, okay, because it makes a huge difference. Otherwise your colors tend to merge together and you don't have any definition between them. Okay, all right, so thanks for hanging out with me since I'm testing. This is nerve-wracking when you can't get something to work that used to work and they just keep changing stuff on me. So now I'm going to blend those two colors together. So I'm going to shimmy, I call it, back and forth, kind of side by side, and then always have a paper towel here to wipe off your excess. Okay, and shimmy again. And I'm by myself, so if you have questions, I'll have to go back and look at them. So I apologize. Okay. But like I said, I'm just testing equipment, really. I just wanted to, and I wanted to get this off my work table so that I can move on. If you guys are from the clay world, clay share, we have that coming up the end of February. And I have 3 spots that I'm doing demos on, so I need to get started on that stuff. So I want to get this off my table is the main reason I thought I would come back on here and just do the test. So shimmy back and forth. You can also, I'm taking the excess off my brush. Remember, you can pat to blend those colors also. And the reason you flood or drop and fill, pull and puddle the color in there is so that when you do start shading and blending, you have enough product, you know, to wipe off and do what you need to do. Okay, so I'm just gonna shade that back and forth a little bit, and I'm just skimming on the surface, so I'm just barely touching the surface. You can hardly even see it. You can take and pull some of those lines up if you want, wipe off the excess. If you want more like detail lines in your petals, you can also go back into the darker color and set it down and pull up. Wipe off that excess because you'll have the lighter pink or purple on your brush, so don't forget to wipe off that excess, because whatever goes down first, you're picking up what's at the end there, and it'll be on the tip of your brush. So if I took this line all the way up and I turned that brush over, you see the pink on there? The purple's on the back side, but the pink's on the top. That's why you have to wipe to get rid of that. Otherwise, you're just moving it around and you would end up plopping pink down at the bottom. All right, I'm going to grab the grape and make sure you always start out and then push towards your edge. So start in a large area and then come back to the smaller. It's easier to work that way. All right, so everything's still sound and look good. I am on YouTube and did not realize it. Oh, really, Karen? Okay, you must have got a notification and just clicked on it. That's okay. YouTube's good. You guys know that you can save it to a playlist of your own on your own account. So you could have a playlist called CFE Enamels, and you could save it to that, and then you can come back and find the videos that you like. So if you've never done that or need help with it, let me know. It's just the same way that I have playlists for you guys on my channel. So I've got one that says Enamels, all colors for earth videos, maybe paste, color concentrates on ceramic, color concentrates on, I just realized I'm going the wrong, this one can lean that way. I should probably go out this way a little bit. Stay with the direction that the flower, you know, grows. I get to talking and I forget sometimes. There's playlist for silk screening, brush strokes. Anything I've done is labeled and always put under a playlist. Now with the program that I'm using currently, I can't pop up some of those photos because I don't have them in this program, but I will make sure I have. I'll have to do spend a lot of time to customize this. All right, Cindy, I'm on Facebook. It's working nicely. Okay, let's talk about the, is there any lag, any blurry? Because, you know, I got new internet. I am now fiber. And I was hoping that I could go back to both platforms and it would be okay. So let me know what the quality is. If the color, okay, so TJ has a question on YouTube. If the colors are on either side of the brush, can you flip the brush over? Yeah, you could. It's going to be a little harder to control, TJ, but, and believe it or not, this is our 455 number 0, or the 2-watt. It's been changed, the name of it, but it's, if you just search for 455, I use this brush. It's like a 1/2 inch long, and it's probably, I don't know, there's maybe 12 hairs across for every time and every size painting that I do. So it doesn't matter if it's an 8x10, a 4x4, a 2x2, I still use the same brush. And the reason I do that is because you have more control and you will stay consistent with your application by doing that. Okay? Hey, Kim on Facebook. Okay, I'm doing this all by myself. Like I said, I am just testing. But yeah, this is one that I started. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, what happens if I let this dry and I don't get back to it? Guys, I started this over 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Okay? Which is crazy. And it'll be just fine. I'm going to zoom back out and I'll show you the other piece. And I'll end up making these, instead of being 2 layers, I'll make them, well, there'll be 2 layers, but I won't, let's do this on this one. So I'll make the separate trays. So these are like 6x12s, and I'll just put this on a colored glass or white and fuse it 2 pieces together. And then I'll do the same with that one. Okay? Because I've already got 2 with the other ones with 3 layers. And you can go back, it was probably 2.5, maybe 2 years ago that I did it. You can go back and find that one, okay? Out there, where I demonstrated originally. Because I've already got 2 pieces that are 3 layers, so I don't need another one of those, for sure. All right, any questions, guys? Just made a playlist, thanks. Oh, you're welcome, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool that you can do that, right? So you could have one that's CFE CCs and CFEs enamels. Thank you, Anne. I'm glad you like it. Okay, I'm going to turn this around. And I'm using a bridge so that I don't have to sit my fingers or my hand on here. So I'm going to do this little guy here, and I'm going to move that light, and I'm going to zoom back in. That's different programs. I can do different things, and it's really crazy. But if this one's working, now the key is whether or not I can get it to work and schedule another event with the same parameters. I'm willing to learn. You know, you gotta try it out. If you don't try, you'll never know, right? All right, so I'm flooding in the Tea Rose and now Orchid Bloom. I'm going to shimmy those back and forth. And when they dry, they become chalky. So I will do this and just wipe off on your paper towel the excess color so that when you go into the next color, let me set these over here so you can see them. When you go into the next color, then you won't contaminate it as much. Okay? And now I'm going to pick up the 36 Purple Sage and shimmy that. Kind of get that blended. Remember, you can do, I feel like a broken record because I've said this multiple times tonight. Pat it in, and then you can also shimmy. So those of you that are on here, we are going to have a price increase that's going to happen 10 to 12 days out. So, and we haven't had a price increase in 2 years. So if you're looking to catch some specials, the kits are still on sale. So pick you up some of those before they go up in price. It won't be a lot, but it'll save you a nickel or two. I will be on ClayShare. I started talking about that at the end of the month, end of February. Boy, and you're going to ask me the dates. It's like the 20, hold on, I'm looking at my calendar. February 22nd is Wednesday night. I believe Mike Harbridge and myself are presenting on Wednesday night. I don't know if she's added anybody, but when I talked to her originally, there was only 2 spots on Wednesday night. Then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's only 3 days, and then the Wednesday night. I will not be on Thursday, but I will be on Friday and Saturday, and I'll publish those dates later. But be sure and make sure you can watch those free on clayshare.com. You can watch on Jessica's YouTube channel, and I will post links also. I believe she broadcasted on ClayShare Facebook page also. So it'll be in a lot of different places. And if you're familiar with them, you know there's Instagram, all kinds of different platforms that you can do. So check those out. I'm excited to show you a couple of new things. I'm getting ready to hit those hot and heavy here really, really soon. Like this weekend. That's why I want to get this done and off my table. All right, so I didn't put any pink on the tip of this one, but look, I'm going to come in and just add some pink just kind of in the middle. So you can play with this. If you've got a photograph that you're trying to go off of, then, you know, reference that. You can even put your colored photograph underneath your glass and use that also to go off of. I'm just kind of making this up in my head based upon where the petals are at, meaning on top, underneath. And that's just something that you learn over time. And then if you weren't here Tuesday night, or what was it, a couple hours ago when I did this, I have taken, you can see the little dots. Let me zoom in even closer. See those little tiny dots? I made those with the Staedtler Tri-Plus Fine Liner. So I just took and made little marks. What I did that for is to separate where my petals meet so that it's easier visually for me to see where I'm going to go in and do my shading. Okay? That's what those are. All right, now I'm going to scooch it across over here, and we're going to do this petal back here. So I'm going to, and I didn't wash my brush or anything, I'm just going right into it. So I'm starting in the larger area, and I'm pushing that towards my edge. Okay, because if you try to start in the tiny little crevice, you can't get there, okay? Then I'm going to just wipe off that excess on the side of the jar. I'm going to grab my orchid bloom, kind of shimmy that, add a little bit more orchid bloom over here. I know it looks like the same colors, but it's not. It's just the other is dry, and it becomes chalky at that point. So, all right, anybody got questions? I'm in and out. Lucy says, having to do laundry. I understand that. Thanks for popping on. Like I said, this was just a little bit of a test. So let me do this, and then you can kind of see. So what I'm doing is just barely touching and just shimmying back and forth. So I'm not pushing down to the glass. I'm just up on the point and I'm shimmying. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to grab some purple sage and kind of add it. It's a really tight little petal there. All right, so tell me, is the quality still good out there? The streaming quality, sound, everything still looking nice? Hopefully. Somebody talk to me. Cindy, Kim, Lucy, Karen, somebody tell me if it still looks good. I think it is. It better be. Like I said, I got 2G fiber last week, and so that's why I've been trying to get this going. All right, I'm going to add just a tiny touch of the grape. So even if you filled the area that you're trying to do, you can still come right on top of that enamel and shimmy it in and add that other shade. And I'm just going to go in here and put just the dark here. It's like a in and behind. And then I'll have to wait until that dries. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Sorry, I see you now first. Britta, did you sprinkle powder between the layers of glass? She asked. You should use Tectaglass to prevent bubbles. If I were, this is going to be the top piece of glass, okay? So, but if I wanted it between glass, yes. So what, let me zoom back out. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. And let me go back overhead. Okay, so, get rid of that. I would set this on another piece of glass. So this is clear. Okay, I would set it on a white, an almond. I mean, you could even do like a wispy blue if you wanted to make it look like it was, you know, outdoors with sky behind it. You can even sift some blue powdered frit or blue enamels on another sheet to create a background. Also, if you didn't say you don't have access to colored glass, you could come in and just do, like I said, sift 2 different blues. You could do it as a gradient. I mean, there's so many different ways you can do it. But no matter what you want to do is if you put this piece between, or say you put another clear on top, which you don't have to do. Remember, the enamels will gloss on their own. Okay? They gloss on their own. But if you did cap it, you've got all this open space here, and you've got enamels. So the enamel, think of it as a piece of glass. So it's setting down on top of there. If you cap on top of it, what happens? You've got air pockets for bubbles in here. So you need to sift all over, and then I would sift heavier in the areas that didn't have any enamels, and then I would go one more time around the edge if I were going to cap it. That's what I would do. Does that make sense? I'm going to turn that. I don't know if no, see that camera didn't, or that light doesn't work well. Does that make sense for you? So let's assume, let's say if I were putting this one on top of here, same thing. I would want to make sure I sift all over, and you'll be able to see where the enamel is. Sift another little coat in here and around those areas that don't have anything to make it level. You want to level out the surface before you put another piece of glass over it. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. YouTube is great, Nancy says. Lucy says it's great. Sorry, I just hit my mic. All right, good, good. Does that all make sense as far as how you would... But remember, you don't have to cap it. This will gloss on its own. You can just put your second piece to create your 6mm, put a second piece underneath it, whether it's clear, solid, streaky, whatever you want to do. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Do you want to see some shading real quick? Let's do that. So I'm using Color Concentrate 136 Purple Sage. And I'm going to put a little bit more out here. What I had. Always shake those before you dispense. Because what I had out here was old. Don't need very much. keyword concentrate, very strong. And I'm trying to look to see what I want to shade. Let's go back over. We're going to go over to this one, and I'm going to zoom back in. All right, I'm going to use the the small Sumi brush. Natural hair, like the hair on your head. It's going to hold a lot of water, a lot of moisture. Okay, lots, whether it's product or water, it's going to hold a lot. Now you get to see my dirty water bowl. Water load, so get those hairs wet, drag it off the side, and I turn my fingers, turn it. So I'm just constantly turning this to get it to a point, but remove the excess water. If you feel like you have too much water, you can quickly blot on a paper towel. I mean, really quick. Don't leave it laying down there. It's going to suck out too much of the water. Tip into the purple. You see there's just a tiny bit on the tip. And you always want to aim or tuck that color where you want it. And I like to start in the middle of the area and work to the right, work to the left. Because if you start over here on one side or the other, then you're going to have really dark, and then you have nothing left by the time you get to the other side. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, here we go. And you need to have a plan on the enamels, because once you touch it with any kind of moisture or water, it's going to try to lift off of the glass. The CCs will be matte, uncapped. Yes, that's correct, TJ. The CCs are a matte finish. I'm redoing my brush because I stood there and talked too long. Just sift with clear powdered frit is what I do over this. Just enough, and then I'll make them gloss. Okay? So I'm going to quickly get ready and get it done. I'm going to tip again, and I'm going to go the other way. Not a lot of pressure. I'm just getting it in there, getting it on, get done, and get off. Because if you don't, you're going to lift it off, and you're going to have to redo that whole petal again. Okay? All right. So let's do... I'm going to find one that I can get to that's not wet. We can come up here and do this one. I think you can, let me scooch that up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to come here. Hopefully, too much water. I can see how far the water went out. So I blotted it on my paper towel, and I'm going to have to be careful that I don't overwork that area or it'll start lifting off. Now, if you get outside onto the glass where you don't want it, Q-tips are great. Because I don't want to have to remember to go back and look at that. Okay, so the pointed Q-tips are wonderful for that. Remember the trick about I'm on a light board, so if you turn on the light board, you can see if you've got a light area that maybe doesn't have a solid application. The only one I see is, you see that little tiny area right there? I don't know if I can point to it with my tool. See that right at the tip of that tool? It looks like a little hole, but it's not a hole. It's just a very thin, and that's where two petals meet there. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to worry about it, but I just thought I'd point that out. See, you can kind of see it there. So you've got, it's light here, and there's a little other one there. So this is why a light board is really nice to check it. I have a really large light board. This is probably 18 by 16 or something. That way I can work on large pieces. Okay, so let's do one more. I'm going to do this one right here. Now, what I was talking about earlier is if you can't see your lines, in person you can see them. You guys might not be able to see them. You can just dot it with that marker. It's going to go away. Don't use a purple marker on a purple area. Don't use a green on the green. Use something you can see. Oops. Because otherwise, it's going to be difficult to see it. Okay. I'm going to go on this side. And I know I've got too much water, so I'm going to blot a little bit of that out. And you know what? I think I'll just do behind on this one till all of that dries down there. I don't want to take a chance. Tap it, sit it down, mush, 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 walk it to the right, walk it to the left, and get off of there. Done. Okay. When it dries, we did these earlier, you'll be able to see it, and you can always go back over it after it dries. Don't do it now. I'm trying to grab the other piece. I'm going to end up. So you can see you can go back in and really hit it strong. I added some on the leaves. I could do one of those for you. And I also, do you see the little lines? I also pulled some thin lines to create even more shading. Now, I used a liner brush to do that. And I didn't have one out here, but I think I've got one here. I like to use the number 0 or the number 2 liner. And so over here on this one, right here, I could take and thin me down. Let me get this where you can see it. Thin down a little bit of the same purple that I used. Fully load that liner, really get it on there. And then I can take and add some fine lines. And when you're doing those, make sure you do them in different lengths. Okay? So I could go back and do that on any of them that I wanted to reinforce. Usually it's from the center out. That way you reinforce that area and make it a little bit stronger. But then sift over it. Okay? Sift over it with clear powdered frit. Alright? So like this piece here is, believe it or not, all CC's, color concentrates. So I was on white glass, and I actually sponged with the seawool sponge, sponged the red, and I think it's 112 on there. And then on the top piece, I actually tinted. See, that's like a pink paste, because when you add the white paste, whatever color you add to it, it's going to do what? It's going to be a pastel. You're not going to get red paste. So I shaded with the same red, but I tinted. And then on these, I used the white, and I just sumi shaded, just like I did these petals here. Sumi shaded when the paste was dry, so that I had a different look. It's kind of cool. And then I added some of the silver sparkle, some of the white sparkle. Do you see the little hearts around the edge? Can you see that? I think you can. Those are called, we call those, this is kind of funny, Dolly Parton hearts. Have you ever done one of those, you guys? It's hilarious. Thank you, Lucy. If you were doing, you take and you, I don't know that it'll work on here. Let me get a piece of paper. Okay, so you take and dot, 2 dots side by side, and then you pull them down together. And that one doesn't work very well. I don't have my little, hold on. Let me find my tool. We have, this is a small wipe away tool, but it's also referred to as a kiss tool out there. We have these on the website. I don't know that I can show it on paper. It's not going to work. I'll have to do it on the glass. So you put 2 dots side by side, okay? And then you just pull in the middle of them, and you create a little heart. It might be better to see if I use the brush handle on the glass. Of course, I'll wipe this off. So, side by side, and then just pull in the middle. And you end up with like a little heart shape. Isn't that fun? You can do that with any products, acrylics, your ceramic, and the glass. Okay, so that's kind of fun. All right, any questions? I don't see any out there. Let me do one of the leaves real quick. So water load, drag off to a point, blot. And then if I want purple on the edge of that leaf, I can just come in here and quickly add it. Okay, so it's going to look like the one I showed you before. It's going to look like these guys here. See how I've added it? So when you're painting on glass, it's not as easy. You don't know what it's going to look like when it fires. So it does take time to get used to that. It's not like acrylics or ceramic is a little more what you see is what you get. But hopefully that gives you some good tips and everything. Thanks for popping on and dealing with me tonight. I appreciate your help to see if this is going to work. So this one will work. We'll see if I can create it for Tuesday night. We are going to do some shading techniques with the Sumi brushes on ceramics on Tuesday night. Okay? All right, I don't see any last questions, so I'm going to sign off, guys. I'm going to go get me something to eat. All right, take care, happy painting, and stay warm. I hear it's supposed to get cool again, okay? It was 61 here today. No jacket. It was great. I love it, but it's supposed to cool back off again, so. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.